About a year ago, I tested the best 5-star rated airsoft guns on the internet. So in today's video, we're gonna do it again. And just like the last one, we're gonna be putting all sorts of different types of airsoft guns against each other to find the best one. We're gonna be starting out with a $25 Desert Eagle with 51 reviews rated 5 stars. And throughout the video, we're going up all the way to an M4 with 464 reviews. Of course, rated 5 stars as well. And in today's video, we're gonna be using my newly improved rating system. To no surprise, you don't get much in the box. Besides some BBs and a little tiny cheap instruction manual. But that's not a really big surprise, as this one is a very cheap airsoft pistol, only coming in at $25. But it does a pretty good job fooling you from afar with this silver paint, hiding its cheap externals, and in theory is a 1-to-1 scale size of the real Desert Eagle. So it does look pretty realistic from afar at least, but getting a little bit closer you could definitely see some of the flaws of this one. And feeling it definitely does not make you think it is a high quality pistol at all. This is the KWC Desert Eagle, fully licensed by Israel Military Industries. It is fully made up of a ABS plastic construction, and to no surprise doesn't come with many features, but there is one at least to note. It looks like you have a safety, but it of course does not work. Oh, it does. Wow, the safety actually works. Never mind. I was wrong to judge, wrong to judge. And if you are curious, it does come with a 28 round little magazine. It is pretty weird though. Taking this magazine out with gloves is like not gonna work. I have to like use my teeth. Got it out. It's like so like slippery and slimy feeling. It's a weird magazine. And if you haven't guessed it at this point, it is a spring action pistol. Our goal for today's video is to find the best of the best. So we're going to be putting all of the airsoft guns in today's video into a little bit of a competition. Each airsoft gun will be rated on 5 different categories. We have the chrono and FPS rating, the accuracy, of course the range, the quality of the internals and externals, basically the overall quality of it, and of course all of those things considered the value for money. Then of course we're going to add up and give each airsoft gun an individual score out of 25 stars. So at the end of the video we're going to have an official worst to best list. Starting the pistol off with the first category, the FPS, it wasn't much. Yikes. Really that low? Yikes. Whoa, that's terrible. Damn, it's like 80 FPS with 0.20s. That's not a good start. Well, hopefully the range or accuracy surprises us. Alrighty, we got 0.20s loaded up and we are 50 feet away. This should not be a challenge for this guy.
Nice.
All right. With the iron sights directly at the target, we are not even hitting at 50 feet away. Let's go up to about 35 feet and see if that helps. There we go. Ooh, almost a bullseye. Not the worst accuracy, but of course we are only 30 feet away.
Now let's go on to the ratings. FPS is a 1 out of 5, accuracy is a 3 out of 5, range a 1 out of 5, no surprise there. Quality is a 2 out of 5, and the value for the money, overall a 3 out of 5, because it is the cheapest one of the video. Overall score, 10 out of 25.
Next up, as you can tell, we're not really increasing in size very much, but definitely on the price tag and the reviews. This little submachine gun is the JG Scorpion R2VZ61. It costs $88 and has 114 reviews and of course rated 5 stars. And surprisingly for the price tag, the unboxing experience is actually one of the best in the video. You get nice graphics on the actual box itself, and in the box you get some bonus stuff and everything you need. This little guy is classified as a AEP, which stands for Airsoft Electric Pistol. That's right everyone, this guy is fully electric. So it's a little confusing. Is this thing technically a submachine gun or technically a pistol? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And a little fun fact, this is a 100% exact clone of the Tokyo Marui Scorpion, which retails for $240, making this one basically a third of the price. So is this a deal of the century and you just don't get those Tokyo Marui trades, or is there a reason it's a third of the price? That's what we're here to test out. Before we test the performance, let's go on to some of my favorite highlighted features. The blast finish heavyweight upper receiver definitely makes this one feel way more high quality than I was expecting. Very solid for the price. It has metal made lower die casting, a metal folding stock, and even an adjustable hop-up, making this one definitely competitive for the price. Let's go ahead and rip off this barrel cap and now take it to some of the tests. First up, let's start with the chronograph test. It was of course shooting higher FPS than the last pistol, but that's not necessarily a compliment. Not the highest FPS I've ever seen, but at least it's consistent. try the RPS. Wasn't expecting anything crazy with a 7.2 volt battery that's that small, but the FPS is definitely a little bit of a letdown. This definitely makes me a little bit worried for the actual shooting test because low FPS is gonna mean this guy's gonna struggle at some further ranges, but maybe it potentially still has some good accuracy. Let's go find out the shooting range. We're gonna start out at a measly 50 feet away. So you definitely can hit some headshots at this distance, but it's not very consistent whatsoever. Now we are 100 feet away going for the maximum accuracy range. Let's see how this goes. I'm giving all the airsoft guns in today's video a little bit of slack because it is really windy today, as you could tell from the vegetation flying like a little party. It's getting the BBs to the target, but the accuracy is pretty bad. 75 feet away is definitely a little bit more doable for this one. I'd say the effective range of this one is probably about 75 feet. You can stretch it to 100, maybe 115 feet away, but you're definitely gonna be stretching it way past its limits. I think definitely the best use case scenario is probably gonna be using this as a pistol. Maybe to a secondary of a sniper rifle or something like that, just so you could spray on full auto if your enemies get too close. But using this as a primary for a submachine gun loadout in a CQB field, probably wouldn't recommend.
Now it's to our final score for the Scorpion. This one did a lot better than I thought it was going to do. The biggest things knocking it down was the low FPS, and that also held back the range a lot, and the accuracy left a little bit to be desired. But for the price, I thought the value was really solid. Overall, giving this one a 17 out of 25.
This next airsoft gun you probably don't see every day on the field. This is the H&K G36C Competition Series by Umarex. It's definitely going to be challenging this video to actually have a nicer unboxing experience than the previous airsoft gun, but this one definitely doesn't do a bad job. H&K always has a decent experience. Oh wow, it actually comes with a battery. Did not expect that. Despite its pretty nice looks from afar, the plastic didn't really impress me, but it does at least justify that little bit of a questionable quality with the plastic with a budget-friendly price tag at $169.95 and holds a modest 128 reviews with a 5-star rating. The only thing hiding the low external feel is those H&K trademarks. It definitely makes it at least look a little bit more high quality, but as you probably guessed, the receiver, front grip, stock, and motor grip are all made of a ABS polymer. Sometimes they do knock out of the box and the quality does feel good with this polymer, but this one was not one of those ones. But thankfully it does at least come equipped with full metal internal parts and gearbox. So at least we still have a little bit of hope with the actual performance. Of course, if you're not too familiar with this platform, it comes with all the G36 goodies, like the top rail for optics, the integrated front and rear adjustable iron sights, and of course that classic folding skeleton stock. Here's a fun fact about the magazine as well. If you have extra G36 magazines, these little clips right here will actually attach to other G36 clips right here for another magazine. So you can actually take them and put them together like that to have a dual magazine setup. This is the first one in the video that is a full-scale rifle, so in theory we should have some good FPS. Okay, so the FPS isn't the worst, but it's not the best. For rifles, I want to see that maybe 350 to 400 FPS mark. Getting between 11.5 and 11.7 rounds a second. And guessing with a crazier battery, it might shoot pretty insane. Let's actually test it out. Upgrade, baby. Yeah, a little bit faster with the 11.1 volt. Damn. But this is a rifle after all, so this is where it should shine, on the performance tests. First up, let's go test it out at 75 feet with a headshot test. All right, we are now 150 feet away. It's gonna be a little challenging in today's video just because the wind is pretty violent today, but let's see how it goes. Ooh, only took a couple shots to get that. What the heck? There we go, that's weird. As you can see, no issues hitting the target at 150 feet away. The only thing with this guy is the hop up is maxed out on the max hop setting. It's gonna be really difficult with this wind, as you could hear. Not the most calm day. for weather conditions. I'm guessing this guy can hit this range, but I'm gonna have to aim super high to the upper right to combat the wind, and obviously the hop up being maxed out as well. That was like my first try. Actually, not bad for this guy. I'd say the main thing holding this one back is the hop up capacity. You're gonna be kind of limited for your range. I'd say about 150 to 175 feet away. But honestly, pretty impressive. Sometimes it just doesn't want to shoot. It's really weird.
Yeah, that definitely didn't help our ratings, but it still was okay. This one was a little hard to rate. I had to kind of use some decimals in this one. Overall, here are the ratings. I used a lot of 3.75 and a lot of 3.5 ratings. The main thing that took it down was the quality of the externals. And I'd be a little bit afraid of the long-term quality for the internals with a really strong battery. But overall, it has pretty good value, and I overall rated it a 18 out of 25 stars. Not bad.
Okay, now we're going up in size. Check this guy out. This is the A&K SVD Dragunov Sniper Rifle. We've gotten the fortunate chance to test a few gas blowback SVDs on the channel, but this puppy is the first one on the channel that's fully electric. Not only do we have a big size increase with this one, we also have a nice healthy increase in the amount of reviews and of course the price tag. This SVD has 142 reviews, of course rated 5 stars, and has a $214.95 price tag. The unboxing experience was pretty much what you'd expect, nothing too crazy.
Except for these.
What are those? Those aren't even BBs. Maybe one of those like gel silicone things like broke apart. That is weird, but look at this bad boy. The only thing I didn't like was the crazy amount of scratches on the top of the receiver. Let's go over some of the features before we check out the performance. It comes with a full metal construction. Basically, the only thing not full metal with this one is the imitation wood handguard and stock system. It of course comes with those SVD classic goodies like the adjustable sniper cheek riser and the adjustable rear leaf sight. And I know this is weird, but because it is a AEG, it is fully automatic and semi-automatic as well. According to the website, it also has a full metal, fully lipo ready gearbox. Also some other small things to mention before we get into the performance testing. It does have an adjustable hop-up, which you would definitely hope with a sniper rifle, and a pretty insane capacity for the magazine. This little guy can hold 180 rounds. Yeah, a little bit more than your average sniper rifle. Let's now go to the performance testing and see how this one shapes up. This one is a AEG after all, but it's technically a sniper rifle, so I really hope this performs better than that G36. Yeah, the battery space is not the best, and this is the only Tamiya connector 11.1 I have, so don't judge me too much. Damn, this magazine does not want to feed. What is going on with this mag? A little bit more inconsistent than I'd want for a sniper rifle, but not too bad. Looks like we're going up and down about 3 FPS per shot. And now for the RPS. Surprisingly, the sniper rifle is gonna probably have the highest one of the video. Damn! This guy has to have the worst mechanism I've ever seen to load up a magazine. For the life of me, I cannot get this open. This is insane. I have to use a screwdriver. And even that's hard. Damn. About 18 rounds a second for a sniper rifle. I've definitely seen worse. That's not too bad. And of course, the magazine is definitely not feeding up whatsoever. So, will we even get this to feed? That's the question. Let's see how it does. All right, well, I shot a couple BBs. Come on, work. All right, you guys get the idea. I'm trying to hold this as best I can and still forcing the magazine into the magwell as hard as I can to get the BBs to feed up every now and then. But it does, I guess, have a okay grouping at 75 feet, despite all the chaos. All right, back to 150 feet. Let's see how this does. Damn, that wind is crazy. All right. Not bad, okay, 150 feet away, pretty easy. All right, the magic 200 feet away. Let's see if this guy will even feed and get to the target. Man, this thing makes you want to throw it off a bridge. Yeah, this inconsistent feeding with me like jamming this up is not getting fun. Hey! Hey, okay, we got a lucky little burst right there. Honestly, if this thing were shooting properly and I wasn't about to bash my head in because of this feeding issue, I think this guy could actually hit maybe 225, maybe even further than that. At that point, it's basically just limited by the FPS.
So here are the final rankings for the SVD. The strongest one with this was definitely the range. The accuracy was fine too, and the FPS was a little bit to be desired, but nothing bad. But then when it came to the quality, I definitely had some issues, with the magazine system basically breaking, so that definitely took it down some points. Counting it up, the total is 16.5 out of 25 stars.
Up next is one of the most popular airsoft pistols ever made. I've been seeing these bad boys on my local field for many years. I'm pretty sure I used to have one of these actually almost 10 years ago. Odds are you or someone you've known that's been into airsoft has owned one of these in their airsoft career. This is the WeTech 5.1 High Kappa gas pullback pistol. It comes in at $120 and has a respectable 172 reviews, rated of course 5 stars. Straight away, the unboxing experience is nothing to write home about, but basically what you'd expect for a basic gas black pistol. You get this bad boy wrapped up in some plastic, a gas black magazine, and some BBs. This at its core is a pretty basic gas black pistol, but it does have some fun features. So let's talk about those, and then we'll go ahead and go to the performance tests. It has a full metal rail striker head for accessory attachments, which is this thingy. Personally, not my favorite design. It has a skeleton slide, hammer, and a trigger for a faster response and lightweight feel. It also has something called a high impact polymer grip, which is this bad boy. Not my favorite feeling ever, but it does the job. And last but not least, a full metal frame and slide with forward cocking serration. Not exactly sure what that word means, but it sounds fancy. And if you are curious, the magazine holds 30 rounds, and this should produce some good FPS. It is a gas pistol after all. Let's get straight into the chronograph and see how it does. Throughout the magazine, definitely going down FPS quite a bit, but you have to expect a little bit of that with a gas black pistol. And as far as the FPS goes, about pretty much where I'd want, about that 300 FPS mark for a pistol. 50-foot headshot test, let's see how it does. Yeah, that's easy. Let's stroll all the way up to about 100 feet away and see if we can get some maximum accuracy and show you guys what this thing can really do. Damn, not bad. As you guys can see with the iron sights, I'm aiming way over here because of the wind, but it is actually getting some pretty consistent results. But now here's for the real beans. Let's try 150 feet away. Ooh! We hit it, boys!
Here is the final ratings for the 5.1 High Kappa. Overall, pretty good value. Definitely a little bit of a bigger FPS drop than I'd want, knocking off some points. And overall, just a little bit of points missing for the quality, but nothing too much. Overall, with a pretty modest score of 19.5 out of 25 stars.
Continuing our theme of weird pieces on the end of the airsoft gun, we have this one. This one has a pretty crazy name. This is the 6mm Pro Shop Swordfish K PDW MP5K. We're only going to increase a few reviews from the last one. This one has 177 reviews and comes in at $230. At first, this one seems all fun and games until you find out about that horrendous battery space. That is definitely straight away my least favorite part about this one. I mean, what are you even supposed to do with that? For the price point, pretty basic box and of course unboxing experience. You do get pretty much everything you would expect in the package, like the magazine and the airsoft gun and the manual of course, but there was one thing I definitely was not expecting. Looks like you have like a little metal part with some screws in that little weird bag. I thought it was a bag of shit for a sec. I was a little worried. Still have no idea what that even is. Of course, the first thing you notice with this airsoft gun is the aggressive swordfish rail and muzzle kit pre-installed. According to the website I bought it from, it gives it a unique, intimidating, and futuristic look. Unique is definitely one word to use with this one. In my opinion, it just definitely looks terrible. But that's my objective opinion. I'm curious what you guys think in the comments down below. But other than that weird feature, it at least has some pretty cool ones as well. The swordfish upper rail system is full metal. It of course has that iconic MP5K integrated vertical support grip, that awesome classic folding stock, a working mock charging handle, but definitely not working too well. The charging handle does not want to stay up in the upward placement right there. That's not ideal. An ambidextrous selector switch, and surprisingly, a 65 round mid-cap magazine that seems pretty high quality. That's what the actual website said, but this is not a mid-cap magazine. Really weird. This is definitely a high-cap magazine with the wheel down at the bottom and a huge area in the top to put BBs. The website definitely got that wrong. Little fun fact for you. This is a compact submachine gun, which is pretty awesome for CQB, but that does mean the barrel is pretty small, even about the same size as a pistol. So I'm not expecting anything crazy for the performance, but who knows, maybe it'll surprise us. Damn, that is really high FPS. Over 400 with the MP5K? Damn, that's way more than I thought. Definitely really consistent as well, but consistently over 400 FPS, which is not ideal for a CQB airsoft gun. Let's see the RPS now. All right, 12.3 is not the worst, but let's try with a 11.1 volt. Damn! Almost 18 rounds a second with this little guy. This is a submachine gun after all, so we're gonna start the headshot test at about 50 feet and then kind of work our way back to see what this guy can really do in such a small platform. Yep, no issues whatsoever at 50 feet away. But that's of course just where the challenges begin for this little guy. We're gonna go back to 100 feet like we are right now and then keep going back by 50-foot increments. Because of the crazy FPS this one, I think this one has some potential to shoot pretty damn far. And we did some testing with the hop up and it looks to have some pretty insane potential. So who knows, we might be able to shoot 200 feet away with this one. But that is of course if the accuracy keeps being fine, because this is a tiny barrel after all. "100 feet away, no huge issues yet." Wow. Definitely not bad. It's basically shooting like a full-scale rifle with just a little bit of accuracy concerns, but nothing too bad for the size of the barrel. All right, now we are past 200 feet away. Let's see how it does. Damn. I don't even know how far we are now, boys. We are off the grid, baby. We're off the grid. Had to do it. Sometimes the trigger doesn't want to like go back in its normal position. It gets stuck backwards. It's kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty sure it's getting to that range pretty easily. And the BBs are still over-hopping a tiny bit. I don't even think I have the hop-up turned up like halfway either. Pretty damn impressive for the hop-up system with the FPS pairing up. We definitely get a pretty insane range for such a small little airsoft gun.
And now for the ratings. Straight away, going from the range test, yeah, that's a 5 out of 5. But the issue is with the FPS is that's kind of too high for most CQB fields. So that's why I discounted it quite a bit. And the charging handle kind of sucks as well and had some weird issues with the trigger. But other than that, everything else is pretty decent. I know, kind of a weird score, but everything else considered, it is a 20.25 out of 25 stars.
For the next airsoft gun up, we're definitely shrinking in size and going right back to the budget-friendly pistol section of airsoft guns. But don't be fooled by this one's size and the price. This one definitely has some nice reviews. Increasing with this one the total amount of reviews to 194, and coming in at almost half the price of that MP5K at only $119. For this pistol model, this is KJW's newest release of the 1911 platform. This is the KJ Customs 1911 Tactical High Kappa, and this one is the CO2 version. For the unboxing experience, it's basically what you expect, very similar to that first High Kappa, but the big thing I liked is actually the trigger feel versus that last pistol. It's way more faster action and also has a heavier feel as well. Way more realistic and way more satisfying to shoot. Now going into the features, it's equipped with a full metal slide and lower rail, a hard polymer genuine Koba grip and trigger frame. It has reinforced internals suitable for use with green gas, red gas, or CO2. In theory, stronger internals than most gas-solid pistols. But of course, the words the website uses to market it to you and the actual performance are two separate things sometimes. So let's go ahead and test it out and compare it to that previous High Kappa. Alright, no more messing around. It's CO2 pistol time. Damn! I always forget how crazy CO2 pistols are. Let's see how it does. Woo! Damn, it turned off the chronograph. It shoots so hard. CO2 ain't no joke. Damn, it did it again. Yeah, a lot more consistent results than that gas oil pistol. Damn, that kickback is nice. 50 feet headshot test. But now 100 feet away, let's see if this thing can still do well. Definitely makes it a little bit more inconsistent with that crazy hard kickback, but definitely way more fun to shoot. 150 feet, this is where it's gonna be a little more tricky for this one. Ooh. Again, not the easiest with this win, but the overall performance of the hop-up is pretty damn good. Doing my live results for this one, I'd say this one's probably the more fun one to own. Shoots more FPS, and that kickback is just definitely way more fun to shoot. But of course, if you want a platform you want to build off of and you want just a tiny bit more performance, I think the high cap is probably the one to go with. But if you're not planning on modding your pistol and you just want a fun sidearm, I'd probably go with this bad boy.
Overall, nothing really to complain about with this pistol. Everything just shot really solid, just barely outranking the last pistol, but they're both very close in performance. Overall, ranking this one a 20 out of 25 stars.
With this next airsoft gun, things are spicing up. Ooh, we got a little anthill right here. Just another day on the job for these guys. Not sure if those are fire ants or normal ants, so I'm gonna try to do this very quickly. Next up, we have the biggest box of the video with some quality concerns with the box breaking apart. We did already cut the tape, so let's just get straight into this and see what we got. Pretty basic box, just cardboard and some foam protecting this bad boy. Damn, this guy looks crazy in person. And I might be getting bit in my foot by some fire ants right now. All right, we all got a job to do, everybody. We got to cooperate. As you'll see right away too, we have a box mag included. And these actually aren't too cheap either. Ooh. Damn. All right, well, I go to the gym, but I'm no Alphonse, so for me, this is definitely pretty heavy. That's actually crazy heavy. Oh my God, I almost just dropped this. To no surprise, not only is this thing huge, but so is the price tag. This is the Cybergun/ANK FN license M249, and it knocks all of the other airsoft guns price tags out of the park at the most expensive in the video by a huge margin. This one comes in at $509 and has a crazy 318 reviews with a 5-star rating. Setting this M249 apart from its competition is a FN full metal license receiver, barrel assembly, feed cover, and bipod. Pairing those metal parts with the heavy-duty nylon fiber, reinforced stock, handguard, and motor grip definitely adds to the overall feel, making this one's externals definitely feel the most high quality in the video so far. And don't worry, Cybergun and ANK also gave some love to the internals. They are updated internals allowing you to use higher discharge rate batteries, without the worry of premature wear in the internals, with a reinforced metal gearbox shell and 8mm bearings, and as well as a heavy-duty steel gear set. And of course, we can't skip by that insane 2,400 round sound activated box magazine. I've definitely seen some mixed reviews about this box mag, so let's see how it actually works. One delivery for big boy up next. Let's see how this guy chronographs. We'll first start off with a 9.6 volt and then go to a LiPo and see what this guy could really do. Sorry for the crazy screech. I'm just trying to do semi-automatic, even though this thing doesn't even have semi-automatic. But it looks to be pretty consistent, only dropping a few FPS or going up a few FPS every round. But now let's go for the full auto, what really matters. All right, about what I expected, about 10 rounds a second. Now let's try to spice it up, throw in 11.1 and see what this one can really do. Let's get this bread. Damn. All right, definitely having some inconsistencies. Let's go ahead and put some more BBs in. No! Yeah, those do that a lot. but it looks like we're getting about 15 to 16 rounds a second. Pretty sure the box mag isn't really made to keep up with that RPS.
And shortly after this, the box mag stopped working, so we're just gonna use a normal M4 magazine, unfortunately.
Yeah, this is just a little embarrassing with this M4 mag, but it is what it is. Yeah, I'd say headshots are not a hard thing for this one at 75 feet. Maybe a 100-foot headshot test will give it a little bit more of a challenge. Not really. So it's doing pretty damn good still. 150 feet, let's see what this guy's got. Not a issue for this bad boy. We are basically maxing out the hop up, so this is pretty much the max range right now. Almost 200 feet away, very good shots. And it's not really for accuracy or range particularly, but doing its job at about 175 to 200 feet away, it's definitely not too bad. And the RPS is just enough to keep your enemy suppressed.
And the final ratings for the M249. A lot of the scores aren't a surprise. This guy did pretty fantastic at most of the stuff. Overall, a little bit of inconsistency with the magazine, definitely knocked it down a point for the quality, but the main thing I did knock this thing down for was the value. This guy is super expensive, and you could definitely get way cheaper airsoft guns that shoot basically the same performance. But if you want to get a super nice replica of an M249 that's full metal, you're definitely gonna have to pay the price. Overall, giving this one a 19 out of 25.
Last but certainly not least, we have the grand finale in today's video. This is the S&T/Matrix Sportline CQB-R. I was definitely expecting all positive things with this airsoft gun out of the box with all those crazy reviews. This one has 464 views to be exact. Of course with a 5-star rating, and surprisingly comes in at a budget-friendly $180. So versus that last airsoft gun, definitely a little bit more realistic for most people. So I was a little bit concerned when I found out about this little quality control issue when we started to unbox it. But in the box, it looks like we have this guy with some very ugly orange compliant tape as always. Get off my finger! Overall, for a first impression, it doesn't feel that bad. Oh!
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Alright. I spoke too soon. Normally I wouldn't think that's a huge issue, but the only thing is you could easily like spin this to the right and it'll fall off, but if you get it back lined up, the Picatinny mount rail on the actual rail system itself will be lined up at first with the actual rail system on the upper receiver, but if you really want to get it tight, you're gonna actually have to like twist it past where they're actually aligned, so definitely not a big quality indicator right there. Yikes. This one now I'm pretty conflicted about. Will it perform very well and make up for those weird external quirks, or is this foreshadowing on how the performance is also? But before we go on to the performance to see if this is a huge letdown or is a very awesome airsoft gun, let's keep hyping this one up by talking about some of the other features. It has a Gen 3 LiPo ready gearbox from Matrix and S&T with a micro switch trigger and quick change spring guide, improved steel gears, full steel teeth piston, and aluminum cylinder. That's definitely a lot of good things on paper. I don't know, I'm not sold yet. Let's keep reading some features. It also has high strength nylon fiber reinforced polymer receiver, stock buffer tube, and grip. It also has a free floating CNC metal 7-inch rail interface system. I love the marketing on these websites because it definitely makes this rail sound a little bit more fancy than it really is. And of course, at no surprise, comes with that 6-position collapsible M4 stock. And it comes with one of my favorite things outside of the box for an M4 is flip up front and rear iron sights. I'm very curious to see if this will disappoint us at the performance test. Let's go ahead and go to the chronograph room and then straight on to the shooting test to see how it does. Ooh, that's nice. Perfect FPS for a CQB rifle. Normally I'd want rifles to be about that 375 plus mark, but this is basically a CQB-R, so it does make sense this is shooting below 350. So you could basically use this at any CQB field, at least where I live. And for the RPS, let's see how it does. Damn! That is no joke, 21.5 rounds a second, making this one the fastest shooting airsoft gun of the video. Will this thing continue to still impress us on the range, or will it be a disaster? Let's go find out. The trigger response is excellent with this thing. We finally got that Dean's wired 11.1 volt for this bad boy. Let's see what the headshot test is like. No issues. 100-foot headshot test. Yep, still pretty good. Yeah, this thing shoots lasers at 150 feet away. Yeah, that's definitely the most consistent one in the video by far. For 180 bucks, that is not bad. That's nice. But now here's where the fun and games end. 200 and about 35 plus feet away. Let's see how it does. Damn. Got it. But especially for the FPS this guy has too, not bad whatsoever.
And now I bet you're all curious for the grand finale on what it scored. Here are the final stars. We got 5 in the FPS, 4.5 for the accuracy, 5 for the range, 3.5 for the quality because, you know, the rail, and 5 for the value. This was overall a really good airsoft gun for the price. Total score, 23 out of 25. The best one of the video. And if you are curious, here is the final leaderboard. I tried my best to score all the airsoft guns evenly, taking into account that they are different types of airsoft guns, but we're still trying to compare them against each other. So keep that in mind, these ratings aren't perfect. This is just a rough estimate on what I value them for testing them out. Thanks so much for watching the video, guys. Let me know if you agree with the final scores down below. If you guys want to see the first one of this series, here is that video right here. And if you want to watch one recommended by YouTube, here is that video right here. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you guys in the next one.